Let's call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, June 23rd. We're here for our regular monthly meeting. Looks like we got a good-looking chipper crowd here today. That's good. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please. Technical difficulties, all
That's off the bat. I hope we don't get a new IT.
It's not me.
Me and you are the only two I know that don't computer that way. So I hope Marty's gonna do a lot more.
We started the video, but it didn't work, so we're trying again. Sorry.
You got an extra pen, I got it.
Is it on now?
Thank you, sir.
I'm just gonna see if it's on my phone. I'll test it.
Everybody got a good joke? Come on, Marty, I
No,
know that.
because it's bound to be recording if it is.
Not one I can tell in this meeting.
Okay.
I think we're working now.
I do have a few good jokes.
We'll save it for later. Okay. All right, we're working, Dick?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Lindsay, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Kathy,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Call. Here. Mr. Key,
Here.
Mr. Pollock,
Here. Thank you. First on our agenda is MBARA. We have a representative, we do.
Yes, you do. Do you mind if I come up here?
Please
Is that
do.
okay? Okay.
Please do.
My name is Julie Krause. I am the membership director for the Mexico Beach Artificial Reef Association. I live a few doors down from the mayor. And we've got a check to give today. I don't know if all y'all know, but Mexico Beach has the largest artificial reef system in the whole Gulf Coast, right off our shore. So it's a big deal. It feeds fishing, it feeds diving, and it supports our local economy. So it's a great thing. We're completely run by volunteers. And so after Michael, when people wanted to donate money to the city, it was much easier to run those checks through our nonprofit and then present those to the city, because we're a 501c3. So I have a check to give to you today. You like getting money, don't you?
Oh, yeah? Oh, definitely. I stand up for money.
Do you? All right. So we have $25,000 to give today, and a lot of this money came from a lady named Betty Jane Grant out of Tallahassee. Don't know if anybody knows her, but she helped quite a bit. So $25,000, and it comes with really nice cards from people all over this region, just thinking about us and wanting to try to help our city and what we're trying to do to recover. So
Awesome,
can I
Judy.
get a photo with you?
Please, oh, I'd like photos too.
All right. Maybe I'll put that down and we'll get a good photo.
All right,
Wow, one more time.
all right.
Okay, and I do have one question, if you don't mind, if I ask the
Sure.
board. So, if you ever go to Grayton Beach and you're walking down the boardwalk, you'll see some really nice all-weather signs that talk about the water system and the fishing and whatnot off Grayton Beach. And Bara's thinking about it'd be pretty cool if on our walkways, we had maybe one sign that kind of talked about the artificial reefs out here, how big they are, how they feed fishing, kind of educate the public, because so many people don't know what's under the water out there. And we thought maybe we'd fund the whole thing. We thought about starting with maybe 4 boardwalks and seeing what the public reaction was. But I just wanted to see if you felt like that was an idea worth pursuing, how you all felt about that, and if so, we can get some numbers and come back to the board.
Sounds good to me.
Does it?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
I'm agreed.
Are you okay with that, Mayor?
We're good.
All right, very good. Thank you guys so
We're
much.
good. Thank you. Do me a favor. On your way, I just get to look at it. See that nice lady standing there behind me? Just pass
Oh,
that.
that
her.
nice
Well,
lady?
Yeah.
Oh, the pretty one
The
right
pretty
there.
one right there,
Okay.
she, but if everybody might wanna, everybody wanna look at it.
Can I fondle it for just a second?
But that is, that's awesome. That's a, that's just, folks around here have been good
Yes.
to use that, and, thank you. And-
You're welcome.
And
Thank you,
MBARA, you have to put up with Ron a lot.
I do deal with Ron Childs,
Oh,
yeah.
bless you.
It's a,
Okay.
it's a privilege.
We should
Thank
pray.
you.
We
Thank
should
you.
pray now.
And Mayor, also that they just finished setting down $92,000 worth of reefs just 3 weeks ago. And then, they took some of the money that the St. Joe Company had originally proposed for one thing that fell through. And they're actually taking that money and dropping some additional artificial reefs in the next.
In July.
In July.
Late July.
So again, it's incredible what they're doing. This is
Oh, I
money
know.
that's coming into us, but it's incredible the efforts that they're doing with Fish and Wildlife and all the other organizations to bring even more.
You think they have any
activities
luck
for
with
us.
FEMA?
We could try. Thank you, Mario.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for all of MBARA's efforts. All right, moving on. Next is a, agenda item, a resolution 2016 for a task order for helping, clean up Salt Creek. Do I have a motion to read?
Make a motion to read resolution 2016
Second.
By title only.
by title.
Okay, Marty, do you need any, is the reading of it going to be self-explanatory, or do you need to expand any on that?
We're cleaning up Salt Creek with grant money and,
Right.
match money from the St. Joe Company.
All right, we have a motion second to read, please do so, Mr. Madam Clerk.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with KK Storm LLC, Kaiser King Storm LLC joint venture in the amount of $2,461,755.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt? The key word there was grant money
Yes.
and matching funds from the St. Joe Company, which is, obviously everyone knows Salt Creek predominantly runs through their property, even though it connects to our canal, so, but they were generous to help, want to do that, so.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2016.
So this is grant money that's coming to do this.
Did I stutter when I said that?
Well, I'm just making sure.
I've got a few questions about
Well,
that.
good, well, now's the time, yes, it is grant money. Go ahead,
And
go
on
ahead,
my-
Darryl. Don't get with-
I just wanted to know if it was grant money.
Yeah.
And the, you know, and the Kaiser King, my thing, and in this book of the package right here, we have, that nobody could work for, doing the contract if they work for the city. And we, is Philip Hall still working for?
But that, Philip Hall don't work for the city.
And that's what, I know it don't work, but in this thing, you couldn't work for the city and still get this, Kaiser King can't get this contract.
What page are you on?
This is anything I was just trying to find. I read it this morning and last night. And also,
Aren't you, but does, I think that references current employment.
I have to read this is, it said employee for the city, working for Kaiser King.
Okay. I'm not
How about
familiar
you?
with that language, but I can't imagine that someone that used to work for the city.
Can you help point us where you're looking with this? total?
It's in
This
the-
total
I
item's
read it
like
twice.
50 pages long.
Yeah, it's very long. I don't know.
Yeah, I read it. Well, I'm sorry, I read it in this one, I'm sorry, but this one should have the same as this one, shouldn't it? Yeah, the same contract? Okay, that's what here it is right here. If this should have the same contract, that's what I'm asking. It says that,
Where you at here?
I don't says, I hereby accept that no city of Mexico Beach City employees, elected official, or any other agents, also owner, corporate officer, or employee of their corporation, partnership, or individual business. That was my concern. It's in this right here, but it should be in this contract also, shouldn't it?
I'm
Where is it?
still
So I
not
can
clear
point it out and
what you're looking at.
where is it?
Right here.
I think that's the general contract that we're starting.
Okay.
That's not for cleaning it.
Yes, but it,
That-
shouldn't we have that same?
Well, it would.
See what I'm saying? I mean, if we got a contract on them, why shouldn't we have it? I mean, or do we have it in?
So this is, what we're looking at is, it's labeled Oleander Avenue potable water.
Yes, I know, but my question to you is, shouldn't that be in this contract here with Kaiser County?
So back up and see. Well, what it's saying though, it's what the mayor mentioned, it would be a current employee. Philip hasn't been with the city in, what, 8 months at least?
I think what I read, I'll take your word for it.
So, this conflict of interest form, it's from, and the engineers that know more about this help me out, but I think it's from the bidding package. We're approving a contract, for that, so we're seeing information from the bidding package that's part of their current contract. So there very well could have been a form like this a year and a half ago when we hired Kaiser Kane, but it, the way it's written, I don't think it poses a problem.
All right, I got one more thing.
Okay.
When you give me a piece of paper for that. And another reason I'm not crazy about Kyle Kane is, I think we had him when we dredged the canal, and they pulled back, went out on us. And I know this is free money, and I know this is not, well, not free money, it's FEMA money, but I didn't like them when they left, and then we had to get somebody to finish. So that's my reason for not, and I don't know what we can do, and I think this is a great opportunity for us to clean up Salt Creek, but it's under the circumstances I don't like. That's just my opinion.
Okay, what else? Darryl, you got some questions or comments?
That's all I have.
Okay, anybody, any other comments? Well, I'm gonna say, because it's been brought up, Kaiser Kane was here, answered the bell when the storm left. This city would not be in near the shape it's in, debris wise, without them. We owed them $20 million for 18 months. They have, thing about the canal, there were other circumstances involved in that, but I don't think it's necessary to, I have certainly no issues whatsoever with their performance, none. Do I wish the canal had been handled differently? Absolutely. Absolutely.
We still owe them, Mario, prior to this, but we're getting close to getting this completely paid, or have we got?
We're definitely getting closer. We just received 7 million, and then that 7 million will get reimbursed and be able to pay them some more, so we're getting much closer. But prior to the 7 million, we owed them 13, so we're down to $5 to $6 million change.
Okay.
All right. Refreshment, did we have a motion to accept the resolution, adopt?
I made a motion.
Darryl, am I wrong? Did you second that?
Second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
No,
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Okay, next is resolution 20-17 for the municipal complex, which is a resolution to exceed $20,000. Again, Mario, is the resolution in the context that we're gonna read explanatory, or do you need?
Yes, sir. Basically, what they're doing is they're designing the municipal complex that'll be directly behind Public Works. It will be a fire station, police station, city hall, and a civic center to replace the buildings that we've lost. This is strictly for programming and preliminary design. The overall design will come in afterwards. We've got to figure out the size and the placement and how they all work, how many people, all those things. So this $20,000 is to kick things off. It will allow us to start receiving FEMA funds, which is also the next trigger for receiving the land.
All right, do I have a motion to read resolution 20-17? By title only.
I make a motion, we read resolution 2017 by, well, title only, sorry.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any opposition to reading? Please do so, Madam Clerk.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a proposal for professional services for programming and concept design with DAG Architects relating to the Mexico Beach Municipal Complex in the amount not to exceed $20,000.
Motion for adoption.
Make a motion we adopt resolution 20-17.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving to number 3, which is resolution 20-18. This is simply, again, a design engineering services not to exceed proposed fee of $20,325 for the municipal complex. Anything to add, Mario, before we motion?
The two biggest keys here is delineating the wetlands, which will allow us to know how much property we can truly improve, and then also the survey component. Once we get that survey component done, what we will bring back to the city is the agreement with the St. Joe Company to donate the land, but until we get that survey, it's kind of awkward to make that next step.
Has the tower got anything to do with this?
Yes, sir. They have also included the tower in the donation as one of the permissible things to put on the property. So the donation is for police station, fire station, city hall, civic center, and the tower.
Now, this, we just did a whole bunch for Dewberry last session, I think. Quite a bit of money going to them. And after we did it, I got to thinking about it. This is not like a contractor, we don't get extra bids for these kinds of services, or
What the city has done, and this is in the past, they do a master service agreement with architects, engineers, typically professionals, and then they do task orders for the additional work. Again, for licensed professionals, what cities tend to do is actual continuing contracts, and that continuing contract is typically good for anywhere from 5 to 10 years, and it has some automatic re-ups and things like that. I was not part of that, but as long as it's something that the city wants to continue to do, and it's typically done for, to say that this is a smaller project, it's still a smaller project. What I may be bringing to you in the not too distant future is a request for proposal for a city pier. That's a $15 million project. That may be something that you want to go out on the street for, or we can just get a task order from Newberry. Again, we have that master service agreement that allows us to do task order after task order after task order. It keeps us with the same knowledge base. They've got all of our records. They know how we function. They do all of our water. They do all of our sewer. For these buildings that are on, large for us, but on a relatively small scale, you tend to use the task order process to keep that going.
I and that sounds really good. The only thing that doesn't include is for us to know if they're being competitive. And, you know, we're spending a ton of money, and there's nothing that we can check to see how competitive those bids are or anything. I mean, we're just giving them a carte blanche to. Now, not that I have a problem, listen, and we got Newberry folks here, hi Tina, but.
Not Newberry, Josh.
Well, she's not Newberry anymore. What are you doing?
Josh is. She's got her mask on, that's what I feel.
But I'm just saying, they've done a great job, but it just seems kind of strange that we put everything out to bids, but we have an agreement with an engineering company, so, I mean, they could be very high. I mean, what is your thoughts on that?
Within most of the scope of what we do, with the FEMA projects, we are checking to the FEMA grant equations, for lack of a better term, on what they're allowed to charge. So again, whatever funds they're proposing to us for these services, we are also checking with our FEMA consultants to make sure that FEMA is willing to reimburse us for those dollar figures. But there are state numbers that give you percentages and things like that. Again, Josh can elaborate on those, but typically architects and engineers charge based on what the total construction cost is, and it's typically a percentage of that, and that's what we tend to check to. And then FEMA does the same thing, based on that construction cost, what is the percentage that FEMA allows you to charge up to?
The rest of the story is on those continuing contracts, the way we set ours up and the way state law is, if the construction cost on a project is going to be more than $2 million, so the buildings and the roads are gonna be more than $2 million, you go rebid your engineering services. But in this case, when we bid out the engineering services, we knew right away that we were gonna have 8 or 10 big projects because of the hurricane. So we went ahead in that solicitation process, we included those projects, described them. So we have a handful of projects that, even though they might exceed the normal limit, we set ourselves up so that we could use Dewberry. You don't have to. If the board wants to go out for an RFQ on engineering for any of those projects, you can. And like Mario said, any very large projects that we didn't specifically try to include in that solicitation, we need to go out and get engineering on. It's just the state laws are written with larger cities in mind, so they think a big project is $3, $4, $5 million, and to us, a big project might be $1 million.
I don't agree with you. I know that's shocking to you, but I don't think we should wait till it gets $1 million or $2 million. I believe $20,000 to me is enough money for us to do something. And I know what you're saying, and I try to do it in my mind, but I really think competitiveness is the key to what I like, and I agree with Darryl on, I think we should get more than one bid.
So-
And I know what you're saying, that we just keep adding on to Dewberry and Dewberry and Dewberry, but we're gonna stop when we get to the $3 million projects.
You can do that, but you won't achieve very well a price reduction, because when you do an RFQ for engineering, you're not allowed to ask for prices. You have to select the firm that you think is most qualified, and then you negotiate prices, which is what we did with Dewberry a year and a half, 2 years ago. So, I mean, most of their task orders are based on hourly rates that we approved, maybe December of 2018. So again, you can always bid out engineering, but you can't say, all the engineers in town, give us your best price, and take that one, because whether it's a good policy or not, that's state law. They tie our hands with that.
State law on professionals requires the most qualified engineer, not the lowest, and you're not supposed to have.
So who makes that decision? The most qualified.
We do.
Y'all do.
That's right, we do. We do.
Yes, sir.
This is not a uncommon discussion. Several years ago, this came up in the and there was the attorney, the engineer, the accountant, the group that sat in these chairs wanted to know about the price, and then when when they were advised it's just done, you pick the most qualified, you don't look at a price. The council, in the end, said, well, you know, the services that we're getting, we're very well satisfied. So but we can certainly do an RFQ for professional services on any that we have. But if you want, again, then all you're gonna get is reputable engineering companies that are in the area. So, if you're looking at just the $20,000, if you're looking at a dollar number, you're not gonna bid, you don't bid out that project. You're not gonna, we're gonna spend a lot of time going through that process. And so I think, to me, if we just want to look at bidding out an RFQ for engineering services, that's something we can decide if you wanna do that. And then we can get an RFQ and sit down and look at the 5 companies or whatever, whoever submits it. But we better be careful, we're in the middle of FEMA recovery. We better be careful with whatever the thought process is for why you might wanna do this, because you lose a lot of continuity, an awful lot of continuity. And I'm just throwing that out there, there's a backside to that we need to be careful with.
I can appreciate that, I understand that, and that's a very valid point. Josh, so when you guys have kind of a basic formula that all engineers follow? I mean, I don't understand that.
Well, I think that he's speaking more to these FEMA projects. FEMA has a fee curve that we use to price off of, and then that is verified through the FEMA consultant that I'm providing pricing that is in line with what FEMA will reimburse. So I can't submit a price to the city where my fees are gonna be out of line with what FEMA's gonna reimburse. I'm held accountable for that. If it's a water or sewer job, then USDA has the same type of fee curves. They only allow so much percentage based on the total construction amount of a job, and I'm held accountable for that. Now, if it's a private development job, then that's a different thing. That's kind of based on what I feel like it is, but for most municipal jobs, there is a fee curve that coincides with what type of job that is. So I'm not just making up fees, I'm actually charging against what the construction amount is based on that fee curve.
Well, FEMA's us too, it's just federal us. And I'm just trying to be responsible for money. That's right, that's the reason I'm asking all of what I asked today, because I thought I should have asked it last week, but I didn't, and so now I'm aware. So really, there's really, as long as FEMA is giving you the guidelines, you guys don't say, well, that's too much, and we could have done it for this.
Well, there's checks and balances against me within the city with FEMA. So Mario's checking against what I'm submitting to you guys to make sure I'm not out of line. I'm held accountable for what I charge you.
Okay. All right, well, that answers my questions. And I agree with you, Mayor, that we're in the middle stream, and this is not a good time to be rocking the boat unless we got a real significant reason to rock the boat. So, but that did answer my questions, and I just wanted to know that, because I didn't want to keep signing off on all of these millions of dollars without at least asking that, because I've been a businessman all my life, and I always want to know that I'm getting a fair price. I have my favorite subs, but I check them every once in a while to make sure they're still in line. Okay.
Other questions or comments concerning resolution 20-18, which is where we are? Is there a motion to read?
Make a motion to read resolution 20-18.
Second. Second.
Have a motion to second. Please read.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a proposal for professional services for surveying and site design with Dewberry Engineering, Inc., relating to the Mexico Beach Municipal Complex in the amount of $20,325.
Thank you. Motion for adoption?
Make a motion we adopt resolution 2018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Question? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
No.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Key,
Yes.
Mr. Pollock,
Yes.
All right, number 4, I understand has been tabled till a later time, correct? Okay. Next is resolution 20-20, which is portable water main for North Florida Construction. Is this as simple as that's to replace the water line that's running down the middle of Olean?
Yes, sir. And these are grant, FEMA funds.
These are FEMA funds, they're gonna
A
pay a
portion of it
portion
is,
of
a
that?
portion is FEMA, a portion is impact fees and
Okay.
So basically,
we have funds.
All right, just for everybody's knowledge, that's Oleander's, the little one-way road, one road off of 98 that is in terrible condition. We can't do any repairs to it till we move that water line.
and there's been lots of problems along there.
You could count the patches. Okay,
I got a question, if you don't mind.
go ahead.
It says in the packet that they're gonna have asphalt, and didn't we have in the, we're supposed to pay Oleander? And then they have it in this packet that they're gonna pay what they did. They're gonna pay what they tore up, it's in there, how many linear feet and all of this. Asphalt, $119,000, so why would we wanna pay them if we're gonna asphalt? Or they gonna just asphalt, we're gonna asphalt over?
So,
Little things that I see.
so is that resurfacing, what, the 119 is resurfacing, so the patches have.
They're gonna dig up the road to put the new water line in. Once they dig up the road, we will asphalt the whole road. And that map that I gave you the other day is all the roads that we will resurface, but this is one of those,
Mhm.
which is part of this project, not part of the other project. So, not road, that's the end.
So we're gonna get asphalt, but we're not paying for it. Step by,
The asphalt is.
we're not doing it again.
We're not doing
Paying
it
for it
first.
once, not twice.
Same people gonna do the asphalt?
No, sir.
I mean, that's what my question is, why we got it in this bid right here, $119,000, if we gonna asphalt?
The drawing shows all of the roads that are being resurfaced, but this, of that overall, this is being done under this contract. We're not resurfacing that road with that other contract. That road is being resurfaced under this contract.
And my question again, we gonna pay North Florida to asphalt over what we did, and then we gonna asphalt again. Why don't we just see if they'll come down
Let me stop. Let me try to help you. We're gonna asphalt the road one time.
Yes.
Okay, it's gonna be done under this contract with North Florida Construction. It's not gonna be done under the FEMA contract that we approved, or talked about, we had that map, I guess it was the last meeting.
Yes.
All right. It's gonna be done under this contract, it's not gonna be under that. It's taken out, so I don't understand the two, there's only asphalt one time. These people, under this contract, paid for recognizably and is listed on the FEMA map, it's just not, it's broken out because of the construction of the water line. So I'm a little confused, what are you saying, twice, I'm not
But
sure.
we was last meeting with the drawings of the Oleander paving, what we was gonna pay, Oleander was on it, right?
It's not on that list. It's on this list.
It was on,
Oh,
it was on the drawing for information for the
Yeah.
council to understand the full breadth of what
What
we're
was
gonna
gonna
get
get paid.
resurfaced.
But we didn't talk about specific contracts.
No, that was just showing what FEMA had outlined to say that. All right.
Did you find it on, I want you to look at it, see if it wasn't on there.
Right.
The last.
Last meeting.
Yeah, on the.
Our
on
last
the
meeting was for the design, for Dewberry to design that
Overall roadway.
overall roadway.
And Oleander was on it.
But it was there more for information because
It was
it's
on
part
it,
of this
but
project.
it was part of what they're gonna show that FEMA says that they have approved all of these sections of road, and he showed us that map.
I see what you're saying now, and I probably, it's on there, what they was gonna approve, but why, and my question to you and council is, why do we wanna pay for it twice? Why don't we get somebody? If
We're
you
not
feel
paying
it,
for it twice. FEMA's gonna pay for that, it's just under, I don't
Maybe
know
to
how
help
it's
explain,
gonna-
that drawing that was done, I could have given you two completely separate drawings, one that just showed Oleander, and then one that showed all the other roads. So that this would be more clear, that this is being done with this project, and the others are with the other project. We just gave you one drawing that shows all the roads that are being resurfaced.
I can try.
watch it with me now, 'cause you ain't sit very good with me.
So, what we did is all the roadways were included in that drawing, but in order to do the water line construction on Oleander, the roadway has to be taken care of as well. So we just included that FEMA portion as part of that Oleander job. So you could disregard Oleander
in the drawing.
as part of the overall drawing. We just included that FEMA portion of the roadway in the Oleander design because it all had to be done at one time.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion to read resolution 20-20?
Make a motion to read resolution 20-20 by title.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, please read.
A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with North Florida Construction, Inc. in the amount of $656,319.62.
Motion for adoption.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 20-20.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
No,
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Key,
Yes.
Mr. Pollard.
Yes.
Number 6, I asked that to be put on here very briefly. I think everyone here is very much aware that Leave No Trace is a part of our city. In terms of the vote that was taken several years ago, and we have not addressed that, and before we are asked about it, I thought that we as a council should nothing more than recognize that if we find there to be an issue down there, that we can start looking at it. I have not personally observed any issues on our beach. I'm not saying there hasn't been any with people leaving things, but I haven't seen it. I haven't heard about it. I've been asked about if we're gonna, what are we gonna ride the beaches? So I think we as a council at least need to acknowledge that Leave No Trace is, summer's here, there's more people here. If we want to put money and manpower and effort into doing that, we need to give, I think that's one of those things that we need to tell the administrator that we want to enact. If we wanna just wait and see, if we get to be an issue, needless to say, I think it's important that we discuss that on what our direction to the administrator is for our Leave No Trace. And if y'all have had people ask about it, I may be the only one, but I know that it will come if we don't at least address it, so we can say we've talked about it, and here's the direction we want to take.
I have a comment.
All right.
Back when this was done, and this was done, what, a year or two prior to the storm? 2 years. I was one of the ones in opposition to it. I'm still in opposition to it. But it's primarily because of two things. First of all, one of the citizens did a kind of a cost analysis of what it was costing, because we got the trash guys picking that up. Is that correct still? Tommy, is that?
Right now, we've not enforced it, and that's one of the questions that the mayor's asking.
Yeah.
Did you want us to start
Well,
enforcing?
but to answer that question, I kind of want to know what it has cost us in years past, because it's my understanding that some of the people in Bay County, some of those beaches enacted the same thing and then quit enforcing it because the cost was so expensive. I heard $60,000 to $70,000.
No one stopped doing it. It was done by referendum vote. You just don't stop doing it.
Well, they quit enforcing it.
Only in Gulf County.
Yeah.
Bay County and Panama City Beach enforces theirs, and they do it every day.
So Gulf County doesn't enforce it. They have the same.
Correct. Gulf County does not by law enforce the
Well,
trace.
so this brings me to my point. What is it costing us to do that? Do we know?
Yeah, we looked at it initially and everybody, well, when we contracted it out, when it first started, we were trying to deal with it. We had a mess down there. So it was much more involved. And we got better at it as time went on because we had some people doing it on the beach instead of just knocking heads with our tourists and taking their stuff. But we got better at it. And we simply took a pickup truck, I believe it was from 6 to 7, and they rode the beach, and if the items were down there unattended, they picked them up, stored them, let people come pick them up. They've had a little space out here. And we went through the trials and tribulations that you would enacting any kind of new ordinance about the beach, but we got good, we got pretty good at it. So,
Going down the beach this morning, I don't know exactly where it was at, but there was a frame with a part of a canvas flopping that was left undoubtedly overnight or whatever. I'm not a big fan of it myself, but I think we need to keep our beach clean. And, we need to address it a little bit.
well, that's why I put it on here. I think the administrator needs direction. When the phone rings and people ask about leave no trace, we need to be able to say what we're doing, and what the council has decided. And it's not like it's not doing it or not doing it, we just simply have, our plate's we've had other things on our mind. But now that the beach is open, I totally agree keeping the beach clean and nice. And we can, like I say, we can simply say, look, we need to send somebody run down the beach. But if you don't do it early in the morning, then, after 7 o'clock, they can have their stuff down there. So I just hope if we enact that we need to be careful with that or if we're satisfied to say, look, if we see something, go down there and get it like that this morning. You know what I mean? Maybe just a visual look.
Right.
And if we see that it's starting to build up, then we'd have to do something. But and that's sort of not really a firm answer, but I'm throwing it out there to see how we as a group feel if we can come to some consensus of, one, start enacting it every day, just like we have been. 2, keep a good visual look on it and see what we see, and get our trash people or whoever's riding the beach, say, hey, here's what I'm seeing, report back. I don't know.
If you got 1 or 2 somewhere, or we start having a bunch.
That's what I'm saying. 1 or 2, I don't know that it's other than just going down there and picking them up. But to devote that money and that effort on a daily basis, which amounts to overtime, in some cases, as stressed as we are, I'm fine with just looking at our beach, seeing what we see. All of us travel that area enough to know that, look down there and just sort of treat it that way. But that, anybody else?
I didn't have no complaints, I mean, my crew ain't said nothing about no tents or, and I know we need to address it, I think we need, in my opinion, we just let it ride like it's riding. If we got a complaint, then we'll bring it to
Deal with it.
Mario, just deal with it. Let's don't
And I'm fine with that.
pay somebody to ride it down the beach to pick up a stick. I think we need to just wait till it gets to the problem, and and we'll know July the 4th, and I think July the 4th.
Yeah, that may, yeah.
We need to
Is
police.
everybody good with that? Just sort of,
Well, so they can leave their stuff down there as long as
no,
it's
we
not.
aren't advocating that.
No.
No, we aren't changing any rules, we're changing the way that
We pick it up.
pick it up. No, no.
The law's on the book, it's not that it's not enforceable, it's that it's whether the city's gonna, how much money is the city gonna devote toward daily patrol?
Exactly.
Well,
I
but you
think
can only
that's-
pick it up between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m.
But I think it's asking the citizens or the visitors to cooperate with us. That's basically what we're trying to say.
Plus the signs that we have, I think are important.
Well, that
Go
was
ahead.
my question. Right now, the signs are not up. They were taken up, I guess, before the storm wrapped. At some point in time, the signs were taken up. We have no signs right now. If council wishes, we can put the signs back up that inform the public. And again, it's asking people not to leave stuff. It's not saying that we're gonna go over there and start enforcing, but again, if you don't ask people
I
not
think
to
we
leave
should
stuff.
put them up. I think, for sure, those should go back up.
Perhaps, you guys are gonna do signs at the MBARA, right? Could you put this as a no trace on the key?
This is different. He's already got these signs.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
All right, what do you think? Rocky, you have your hand up, go ahead.
Well, as a citizen, my opinion, I walk the beach every day, and I go down the sidewalk every day. And just yesterday, watching the sunset, we're down here walking around, I'm just like so appalled at all the damn footprints going over the sand dunes. I brought this up before to you guys about, you got the signs.
What about
there.
leave no trace? You got
Okay,
anything
no
on that?
trace,
Yeah.
but like they were saying, nobody has a clue. Your dedicated beach, nobody has a clue. They drive up there, there's no signs, there's nothing, so the people leave stuff down there.
Well, there's plenty that don't walk on the sand dunes.
Well, I know that, and it just annoys me, because you see the footprints right around it. and
That's
it's
gonna
just-
be brought up.
Yeah, we gonna talk about that.
But the other thing, the signs, and like you pointed, said, you have the signs, it would be nice, you got the boardwalks now, they wanna put stuff up like at Grayton Beach, which is nice. It would be nice having a display. And
Yeah,
you
put it
put
up there.
right there, so it looks nice. Instead of having a million little signs everywhere, do something that looks nice.
I agree. What you got, Miss Kimberly?
Just two things. One, we're doing our part by helping inform our overnight lodging visitors that the city has these rules along with some other rules regarding pets, fire, glass, driving, those good things. Those magnets are up, we've given them out to our partners. Another thing, we just coordinate with the sea turtle people, cause they go on the beach at like 5 a.m. and they would be the ones to tell you if they start seeing more and more debris. And if they see it, then maybe that's your cue to start, getting a guy out there before 7 a.m. to, comb the beach.
Okay, that's a good idea. I think just everybody's eyes on the beach, they're gonna, not that they aren't anyway, and report back, and if we start hearing or seeing things that are unsightly, put the signs back up is a good step, and see what we can come up with. Okay, we're good with that? All right, thank you. All right, we have, some staff reports. Dick, you have anything?
Just briefly, last meeting, we had a discussion about code enforcement. If there are any questions, we can answer them, but I've gotten together with Kathy and shared some information, and I think we'll plan on talking a little more after the meeting, and that's progressing fine. I've shared the recent updates and some guidance about how to handle individual cases, and that's all.
some of these department reports first? Well,
Yes,
sometimes
yes,
it may help.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll wrap it up at the end.
Okay. All right, Monique, you have anything for us today?
I do.
That's a good
first-
thing.
Just let me. This is two. I already have one of these already locked.
I have one.
All right, there you go. You don't need to get close, Dean.
Okay, so, what we're looking at here is the millage rates for the ad valorem taxes. And we have the 2019 figures, the 2020 and the proposed 2021 figures. And I don't know if you guys have any question on this. Basically, there was a shift in the rate between 2019 to 2020, and it went up to 0.08. And that's what they're using to calculate the, property taxes. We have the budgeted figures, and, basically, the tax levied is a little bit more than what was budgeted. And then we have a meeting with the auditors after this meeting, so they're coming in to basically, have a discussion on when we're gonna have their entrance interview and stuff, so. Basically what happened.
One of the big impacts that's gonna affect our 2021 budget is the money for the fire department been allocated by state funding or state grants. Because that's probably 90% of the difference between the 5.32 and the 8 mills. We went from a non-assessment to a millage rate to fund the fire department. Because there were no houses here to assess.
So when we're gonna find that out?
Well, I think we know that, don't we? Or Mario, do you know, didn't the governor fund the fire department money? Remember?
They funded them last year, but we don't know if that grant will push through again for this year. We still do not know that.
They have to pass the budget, I see it.
I see that, I know, they're still, they expect considerable cuts.
And this is just the preliminary, ad valorem. The certified ad valorem will come in on July 1st.
So the difference in the tax levied in 2021, is that based on what we think new houses are gonna be ready and taxable, or what is that about?
This is the property appraiser goes out, and, they look at all the buildings that were built, they add that to everything, and then they look at, the cost of real estate going up. So, this is an estimate that the property appraiser goes through.
Just an
It's
estimate.
based on 6 months ago. They do it on January 1st.
When's the DR4 come out? That's the certified, surely it's gotta come out for August, doesn't it?
July 1st.
July 1st, okay. All right, so that 353, Monique, on that one prior year, that preliminary figure that you have of $353 million, what is that based on? Where did that number come from?
I think this
It's
is
the
based,
property appraisers.
the property.
Property appraisers, okay. Just not certified,
Correct, just not certified.
just not certified, okay.
And again, keep in mind, everybody's received a notice that this is what your home is being taxed at. It gives everybody that opportunity to go back and say, look, you've got something wrong, or make these adjustments. So again, that's why this preliminary number and the certified number, there typically isn't a whole lot of difference, but there is the potential for some difference.
Okay, so one of the big, again, the biggest dollar amount is to find out governor is going to roll that, initially it was talked about for 2 years. But again, the budget hadn't been approved. And I don't know if we're gonna have that by then or not.
And if we don't, what happens?
So we'll have to decide to go either keep it in the millage rate or, I mean, I don't even see this an option to go back to the assessment because there's no housing and there's so few homes here.
And if we are considering the assessment approach, we need to look closely at the schedule and deadlines because we have not been
That's
preparing
right.
for that approach so far.
No,
And it might be too
well, I
tight.
mean, I don't even see it personally. I brought up, that's the big discrepancy in the 5.32 mills to the 8 mills. That's why it jumped so high. Okay, well then, by our next meeting, we will have a certified number, and we can start making, what, dartboard? We can start throwing the darts, I don't know if we hit the board, but maybe we can.
Start to the
For-
schedule.
For the next meeting, I hope to bring you a schedule on when we would do workshops, for the
Okay.
meetings. And again, just a basic question along those lines. Would you like to do them on the same day of the council meeting, where we do the council meeting at 9 o'clock and we just roll into a budget workshop at 11 o'clock? Or do you want to do them on a completely separate day? Just as an overall concept.
I'd rather get it over with.
So the same day?
Oh, it's better, but that should be fine, 9, that same day.
Same day.
Same thing.
So what we'll do is we'll set it up on the council meetings at 11 o'clock or at the conclusion of the council meeting, whichever's first,
Okay.
whichever's latest.
All right. Thank you, Monique. Do you have any other comments? Okay. Sandy, you got anything?
Nothing of significance to add, other than the fact that, we spent quite a bit of time down at the boat ramp helping out with the parking. And I think those times when we were there with both, Councillor, Smith and, the administrator, it worked out well. And, you know, we're happy to continue doing that if anybody deems it necessary. We've had a number of medical calls. We've been called to pull people out of the sand on 98 a number of times when they've driven in too far. But other than that, nothing of significance.
Y'all been doing great over at the boat ramp. Thank you. Jerry, you've been doing one there.
What did he do? What did he do?
He told me what you were doing. And your grandson.
Thank you.
Especially the grandson.
And Kathy.
Thank you. Kathy, anyway, we're talking
We ready to move on now?
At least.
I don't wanna leave anything too soon. All right, Marty, you got anything to report?
We're working on the dunes right now. Trying to get that and some statute or something to go along with it from the state.
Okay. No kind of, issues in town?
Not really.
I mean, no hot, okay. Good, that's awesome.
We've got Mr. Smith under surveillance with the golf cart bucket. We're not under control.
Move on.
Yeah, that may take additional personnel.
Control the kingpin, you control the carts.
Lieutenant, it's a great truck now.
See, changed trucks, you notice he's gone incognito on y'all. Yeah, okay, I thought I was gonna record his tag number and all that, but I think y'all got it, okay. All right. Hot spot, building department, what you got, yeah?
Kelsey, the new employee, will be starting tomorrow. She's been in our Panama City office training for the past week. So if all goes well today, she'll be here tomorrow. The express lane plans that we got in right before the last meeting, we reviewed those, provided them comments, heard back from them. We expect to have those revised plans on Friday. So that's coming. The crossings at Mexico Beach, they've submitted preliminary plans for apartments. So we've looked at
crossings back on the canal?
The,
St.
St.
Joe.
Joe development.
Oh, yeah, okay, we got you.
Are there, Mario, on the gas station, have you talked to Mr. Keys since we told them that we were gonna preliminary to send the plans in for review? Are they gonna be ready to go, or are they still tied up with the lease, with the landowner, or do you know?
The last that I know, since they submitted drawings, was that things were, people were in agreement, at least at this point.
They
But that was
were.
based on the last conversation that I had, which was when they were submitting the drawings, so. The insurance has come through, the landowner, the lease, all, things are starting to.
Moon and
line up.
stars lined up.
Yes, sir.
Has any discussion with Ms. Bartlett concerning that that they are in line to start construction, once the plans have been approved?
I have not asked.
Haven't asked that? Okay.
We need to stay on top of that.
I agree.
Well, all I know is what Mr. Keys told me. And then Mario talked to him, and it appears that they're closer to the center of the line anyway, so there was some discrepancy, there was some disputes about that the landowner was not gonna sign the permit. And I think you suggested that even if they have a lease contract, we'll go with it.
Again, the biggest issue was that the insurance company wasn't providing enough money to rebuild. Once they got through the money side, then the next issue was that the landowner didn't want to sign on the permit, but the fact that they've got a lease means that the landowner doesn't have to sign on the permit, it's the leaseholder that signs on the permit. So the drawings were submitted with the proper
Okay.
signatures for us to review.
Awesome.
I've done a lot of work for gas stations, paving them and stuff like that. Gas stations, when they get ready, they move really fast because they have companies that specifically build those things. They're almost always pre-manufactured, so they can move really quickly. And I don't imagine it's gonna be a squabble about which contractor, because those are usually pretty easy deals to do.
Well, you're trying to rebuild the city 2 years, no gas, I tell you, it's a big deal for me.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not a big deal for them to get going, is what I'm saying.
Right.
It is a huge deal for us to get going. And I would certainly hope they put non-ethanol gas too, but hopefully.
All right, Jeannie, you have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Kathy,
Yes, sir.
there you are. What you got for us today?
I got you a new demo list, hopefully you'll like this one better than last one.
Well, not everybody dislikes it.
So it's downsized quite a bit from last time.
Oh, it's down to one page.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Greg, do you want one?
Kathy's gonna give me one.
All right.
Justified means,
I've got paperwork that it's involved with, insurance dispute, attorneys are involved, and we'll put that from there.
Did you contact Angela McDowell?
I did.
What'd you
She,
find out?
told me that there's only one, that she's gonna have demoed, and the rest she's gonna rebuild, remodel.
Good.
The third one, the 703 Maryland, that is for sale, and whoever buys it, I hope one of my neighbors do, it be tore down, so. I hope, Nick, I hope we do get a little bite in our, whatever we got to do with these sending these unclaimed letters back. I mean, I think we're gonna have to do something. I don't know what we can do, I hope we do. That first two up there, his mother's a lawyer. And he lives in Fort St. Joe, over in Highland View.
Nick, did you say you posted in the paper if they don't?
You can, and before you go to that step, it's even easier, you can locate either the owner, or if it's a business, the manager, you can just hand deliver,
this list is shorter. The other ones, the reason they're not on here, they've been resolved. Okay, so the one at the fish house thing has been resolved.
She's demoing, she's contracted with John Arnold,
Okay,
and they're gonna be demoing it.
okay, great.
The fourth one from the bottom is gone. Christie, the house has been locked and cleaned up. He gave the trailer away and they come in there last week and leveled it and you cut grass now, so.
Okay.
Good. So we're gaining ground.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question. Yeah.
I don't have that list, is 105 C 41st Street on there? My name's Kent Posey, I live at 105
105 what?
C.
30th Street?
41st.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, so I'm at 105 B 41st Street, and it's, obviously quite the issue. I think we've talked to some of you before, my father has talked to some of you before about this particular place that's falling in essentially. I don't know what the protocol is or the code is to get something going so that the gentleman that owns it will actually do something with it. I mean, it's been close to 2 years now, and he's made no effort to do anything, not even, clean it up, much less remodel it or make it livable. There's obviously still mold issues that are going on at this time. And you can smell it just riding by on the street, the odor, the issues.
Kathy, you don't have any comments on that. What do we know about it?
Well, I did speak to his father yesterday, this gentleman back here.
Oh.
And he showed me where he has done some mold testing. It's pretty gross. But I don't have anything on this person at all.
Do we
No,
know
I
who
didn't.
Sea Salt Mill LLC is? Do we know that?
Yeah, I think I found out his father told me yesterday his name is, I think it's Gary Miller or John Miller.
Yeah.
Jack. Okay. And he does have another piece of property. I did find that this morning, I think, you know.
Jack Miller, I hear you right? Jack Miller? From where?
I think he's near Columbus.
I seen that name somewhere.
Yeah, he supposedly had several properties here before the storm, and I'm not sure what he's done with any of them, but, we've attempted to make contact with him multiple times, have spoken to him several times, and then he'll just stop responding to any kind of phone calls for months at a time, and then, I guess when he feels like maybe something's about to happen, he'll respond and kind of drag things along, but again, you can obviously look at the property and tell that he's made no effort to do anything. Any cleanup that's been done, we have done to stop debris from coming onto our property, because broken glass comes across into the driveway, broken boards.
How many units are there?
It's 3, and we're the
Three.
middle unit, he's the.
He's the end, you're in the center?
Yep.
Dick, what do you do in a townhome situation? Can you help? I mean, it's not like a single family home, and we can't find them, how do we address something like that?
So if you really could not find that individual, that'd be the step where you put it in the newspaper, and when there's no response from the newspaper ad, you proceed with your code enforcement action. You can have a hearing with nobody defending it, and the ultimate result of that is gonna be some combination of a lot of fines and or the city going and doing the work on its own to fix the problems. And if it's a townhouse, I mean, it's more complicated.
Yeah.
You're close to another
Close,
building, it's gonna
exactly,
be more
that's-
costly, but it's all possible.
Kathy, you said you had so you have a number/address for this Mr. Miller?
No, sir, I don't.
But
I was speaking to his father yesterday.
Yeah, my father does, yes.
okay. Well, then I think we need to start there, and we need to document that we called him, or attempted to call him. And then, what do we? I mean, a townhouse makes it more difficult.
I mean, there is some stipulation, if I'm correct, that based off of the age of the house, that because it's a connected unit,
Yeah, let's see if we can't gather some information so we can get the best contact information we can, let the city code thing work. Give us, make sure we try to contact him by phone and by certified letter. Have we sent him, we probably haven't sent anything yet.
Oh, I sent him a letter. That didn't get anything.
That you had off the property appraisals, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we need to work on that one. Let's just see what we come up with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy, do you have any comment, if we don't have questions, or this is just informational?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. I like that you can drive around town and see that we're definitely making some progress. It looks like, based on some of these comments we're gonna do, this list is gonna continue to dwindle. So,
Just have to see some.
all right, thank you, Kathy. Public Works,
Good morning, council. Before the meeting, I passed out some papers, around, got a list of things that we accomplished in the last couple of weeks. I won't go over all of those. One thing I will say that you probably noticed that we do have porta toilets, put out now, down close to where Two Cans used to be, Sunset Park, Pier Road, and down on Canal Parkway. We also installed some fencing in front of them, or behind them, so people coming down the road, they wouldn't stand out so bad. We anchored those down, and, after the storm yesterday, looks like we done a pretty good job, they're still standing.
That's a good test.
Yeah, we got those done. Last week, we were able to, beach rake, got on the beach, done a little beach raking, so kinda got that cleaned up. We'll do a little more of that before we forward, try to get our beaches in tip-top shape. Another thing, I mentioned, I think I talked to the mayor and Mario about, we do have another piece of the pier in the water out on 23rd Street. We went out yesterday and looked at that, looks like about a 20-foot piece of the fiberglass piling and probably one of the metal braces. There's no harm of anything on it sharp right now, but we are in the process. We will get that out of the water in-house, just like we did the other piece, so, we're working on that now. It's a little further out than the other one, so we'll have to get a little more cable, so we can get that brought in. Also, at this time, I wanna tell Sandy, thank you every morning. Sandy comes in and checks the whole staff temperature. And I know that may not seem like a lot, but, we do appreciate that. So, thank you, Sandy, for doing that for us. Other than that, Mayor, what's on the paper there, everybody can look at, we're just doing normal cleaning, cutting, cleaning sidewalks. We did get, a crew in the ditches going down on the south side of 386 all the way to county line. If you've been down 386, you'll notice we've done the same thing we did on 15th Street. We completely cleaned the ditches out all the way down. We had a couple citizens called about wanting to know if we could do that, and, we were able to get that done last week also. Other than that, everything's going good.
And you got water to all the rest of the slips.
That's right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Questions for Public Works? All right. Only because it's on your list, I had several complaints about fish carcasses in our canal. And you can see that on the last item, that they put those signs and went along on those docks or those fish cleaning stations. Kimber, can you help us with on any of your website, anything that we do not allow fish carcass, do not put we have a wonderful boat, a fish cleaning facility, a cooler where they can put them, and if they can't come around there, that is something that code, police, council members, public, if you see that happening from a private fish cleaning, we need to report that. We cannot tolerate that. It is, we fought that battle too hard and won it, and now because of different things, there's just laziness. If they can't take them around there and put them in that cooler. So, other people in our canal that use it do not deserve to smell and see that stuff in our canal. So, I encourage anyone that sees any activities of fish carcasses being thrown in the canal, please call someone. Yes, sir.
Mayor, we did put up, a flyer on every one of the private fish cleaning stations throughout the canal.
Good.
Also, so they have something up there, you know, stating not to throw them in the canal.
Okay. All right. Mario, you're up.
Mayor, if I could get Thomas to give a quick update on the status.
Josh, I'm gonna come back to you, I'm sorry, just.
The SCADA. SCADA.
Yes, sir. As everybody knows, we upgraded our lift stations after the hurricane with a new, what they call SCADA system. It's preliminary control, which we did not have prior to the storm, which is, we was running by hopefully somebody seen a light previous to the storm. Nowadays, we actually come online yesterday. I was sitting in my house last night when that storm blew through here. We had an alarm over 44th Street. I was able to look at it on my phone in real time and see exactly what the issue was. And nobody on 44th Street even knew there was a problem, because I was able to alarm it, disable everything. I knew what the problem was before I even got here, to know whether it was a false start, something simple, major, whatever. That system is up and running on all stations but 2 right now. We still got 2 of them, we gotta get line power to. But the SCADA people that come in yesterday, we are up and running 100% on that new system, so. So hopefully tonight's up here in the alarm over at 7th Street, in that area, all that's over with now, so.
Correct. Music?
Yeah. We had a CDBG meeting just the other day where TDC from Panama City and along with Mexico Beach is gonna push forward the pier project. So we've got energy coming from them for that particular
Nice energy, too.
enterprise, which is a huge help to us. It is one of the things that I would like to see if y'all would like for us to go out for a RFQ for the city pier. Again, within the contract that we have with Dewberry, we can contract with them to continue and do the city pier. But city piers are pretty specialized, so if you would like for us to go out for a separate RFQ.
We did that.
For the pier, okay.
That's real dumb. Select.
That was in 2017. Do we want to continue on with that to push them forward on the next step? Basic question.
Can I just say one thing on that?
Sure.
So the pier should be eligible for FEMA funding for design as well as the construction. I doubt that FEMA will let us use the contract from when we put it out for RFQ prior to the storm. So if we're going to use them, I think you still have to go through that RFQ process to make it FEMA eligible.
Of course.
Yeah.
It is a very specialized type of
Yeah,
work.
I think we should do that.
And, again, right now, one of the things that we're working on is separating out the design from the construction so that we can start getting those monies fed in prior to the full-fledged. So if,
Are you saying you think they will require it? Can we ask them? Or is it just assumed that after the storm, they want everything to be done?
Yeah.
Well, then I think we should put out an RFQ. I think that the council, and the cities, we need to do that.
the next project that, again, we can either do an RFQ or continue on with Dewberry is the jetty. And again, on the jetty side, the consultant that is being used for beach renourishment is somebody that is under contract within Dewberry, which would benefit the design to tie the beach renourishment with the jetty because it's similar technology. So again, go for a total RFQ or right
For
under.
what now?
For the jetty. Remember
Jetty.
one
The
of
east side?
one of the projects that we're going after
East side jetty?
is a jetty at the
Yeah.
canal.
Okay.
And that's approximately a $5 million project, rough order magnitude. So RFQ that or work with the master service agreement with Dewberry. And I think Dewberry already works with the consultant that does the beach renourishment, is that correct? So
And-
they're.
You're talking about
Emergency.
Legowski? I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Debrowski.
Yeah. council thinks, I know that they have extensive knowledge of our beach renourishment from the past, but whatever. I know
I'll
the
say we
pier.
carry it on.
Carry it on.
Keep it tied in.
So I'll get a task order from them and
What's
bring it.
everybody else, I mean, is there any objection to that?
Who you saying go with who?
Again,
Stick
on,
with Dewberry.
on the jetty, the consultant that they use for the jetties is the same consultant that is used for beach renourishment, and the beach renourishment knowledge that they have for the Bay County area is gonna make them probably the most qualified. So, again, we can go for an RFQ, which basically tells us who's the most qualified.
There's so few of them.
I think we need to fight. I think we need to go for RFQ. My opinion, I think a little spice in the life or something different might go a long way. That's my opinion.
I'm for staying with what we have.
What is beach renourishment mean?
Beach renourishment is when you go out and you do a study of how much sand we have on our beach, and that knowledge comes back and allows us to qualify for Corps of Engineers funds to basically go out and dredge sand from someplace a mile or 2 or 3 miles offshore and pump it onto the beach. And beach renourishment is one of those things that has been done successfully in Panama City Beach and unincorporated Bay County. I don't know that y'all have had a beach renourishment project.
We never have it.
But it's one of those things that, again, right now, you have 1 mile of critical beach, you have 2 more miles that we're trying to get qualified, and it's mainly the TDC that does this effort, because 2 of their pennies from the Tourist Development Council goes into the funds that are used to match with the Corps of Engineers, so it's very convoluted, but that common knowledge of knowing where the borrow areas are, knowing who the local contractors, knowing how our beach rides back and forth and goes offshore, there is some benefit to having that common knowledge through the area.
So, just to interject, the CDC is currently developing a shovel-ready project, which will cost $25 million, that will renourish our whole 3.5 miles of beaches. We, under the umbrella, have utilized MRD through Dewberry. We have this, the MRD has already designed this, we've already found our borrowed area sites, and we are now moving into getting permit in hand. So, when we find this $25 million, it's just easily to find, we can put shovels in the ground. We have utilized MRD with our other stuff through Dewberry with beach nourishment, and he knows this information, and I don't think you'll find anyone outside of MRD that does something like this better, especially for our coastline.
And just last week, I had a 2-hour-long meeting with the Corps of Engineers where they are doing a study on beach renourishment for our area. So it is something that has good energy because of the storm for our region. And we did forward the information that we have as Mexico Beach over to the Corps so that they can plug that into their feasibility study.
Okay. All right, so the question remains, is council, do we need some general consensus to either RFQ this project or stay in the queue we're in so we can move forward? I think Bobby's voice stay. I'm okay with staying. Jerry's not okay with staying.
Do we already have a preliminary estimate of cost of construction? Go back to that $2 million, under $2 million threshold.
I think we've estimated for the jetty, not the beach renourishment.
Right.
I think beach renourishment was estimated at what, 25 million to do the full beach?
Well, it sounds like that's not even likely to be a city contract.
And then the west or east jetty, I think we've estimated between 3 to 5 if we expand the jetty.
Do you happen to know if that was one of the projects we listed on the contract 2 years ago?
Well, it wasn't listed specifically, but that would be Hurricane Michael related, because it was damaged.
And can you kind of briefly tell us what the jetty's gonna look like? What does that entail? Is it going out a mile, a half mile, 1 mile?
So what we proposed was, you know, the portion of the city on the west side that was so damaged by the surge, where on the south side of 98, almost all of the houses were obliterated. We have discussed bringing the jetty, the east side, further towards the pier. How far we go, it hasn't been decided, but the suggestion was bring it quite a bit further, closer to the pier, wrap it around and bring it around to create a breakwater in the future, but also that kind of ties into the beach renourishment, because if you have the east side wrapped around, that prevents our sediment from landing back at the inlet to the marina and starts to build up the sand on that, behind the jetty on that side. So it's kind of a two-part piece. So, yeah, that's what we've discussed. In 2017, I know Dewberry and MRD did a feasibility study to look at the east jetty to figure out how to kind of come up with ideas for a solution for that problem, and that was one of the things that they said would help would be to lengthen the jetty in combination with beach renourishment.
So it's essentially, it's gonna catch sand all on its west side.
On its east side. Yes, on the east side. So our west jetty is longer than the east, and sand is caught behind it. So the idea would be on the east side to lengthen that as well, so that you have the two jetties are even. So you don't have one longer than the other, which lets sand pile up against it and fall into the inlet.
Well, used to, when we would dredge the canal, we would dredge a big hole on the west side
Yes,
of
the
the jetty,
track.
because that would fill up, and that kept it from spilling around.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying is that the west side is actually gonna catch sand. It's gonna catch sand all the way along before it spills around. It's only gonna spill around at the end.
Yeah.
And if it's in a greater depth, it's not as big an issue, I'm assuming.
Yes, but I think it also depends on the direction of the winds. So if we have a wind coming from the east, what happens is if this is the west jetty, our east jetty is shorter, so you have that sand hitting our west jetty and then depositing at the inlet. So this study looked at lengthening the east jetty and addressing that side too, so that we don't have one longer than the other. In terms of how far it extends Gulfward, when we say lengthening it, we're saying bringing it back around kind of even with the west jetty,
Parallel.
creating a parallel to the beach. Thank you.
Keep in mind, we really need to hire the consultant, because we're
Yeah.
Monday night
Yeah,
forecasting when we haven't even had the game yet, so.
yeah.
Right.
I didn't even know we had an east jetty. I've never seen it. It's sand, yeah.
And it is one of the projects that we're going to.
All right, coming back, do we have any more questions / comments / trying to just get a consensus? I don't think we need a motion, we just need to know we're trying to decide on a RFQ versus staying where we are to move forward on beach renourishment.
I'm from staying where we are, personally.
I understand what Jerry's saying, and I agree that we need to start looking at different things, but this is already in process. So we can go ahead and get it going with people that are already involved in doing it. So I'm for the stay.
Sharon, you having
I think we ought to stay with what we've got, and,
all right, Mara, that ought to give you some direction.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. And that pretty much wraps it up there.
Josh for Dewberry, you got some comments for us?
Yes, sir. Just run through the projects real quick that we have. Sunset Park, we'll finish the coastal construction control line survey this week. Next step forward will be working with the architect on the layout and actually initiating that coastal construction control line permitting through DEP.
Before you move from that, now where do we stand with design of Sunset Park? What are we ready to, is that ball still rolling?
We have the engineers under contract to do the design work, which sets certain lines and certain heights. At our next meeting, I will have a contract for you for DAG to do the design for the actual park itself. So that's my next step. But we had to set those lines and those elevations before the architect can start to figure out whether he was slab on grade, elevated slab, or so on, so, the next meeting.
Citywide streets, we have a base drawing based on the DED that's about 75% complete that identifies the areas that were damaged. We're going through that DED right now, making sure the quantities are correct and they correspond to the drawings. The next step on that will be, and I spoke briefly about it in the last meeting, is the way that was allotted through FEMA. There were parts of some roadways where there was a 5x5 area that was cut out, and that's all that was given as part of that road. So what I would like to do is, once we have that base drawing ready and are able to look at it, is bring it before Mario and potentially a workshop to look at it. I think if we would be better served, and I've spoken with Dina some about this, about taking those quantities, combining those quantities and looking at the full streets that need to be resurfaced the most, instead of just having small patch areas on some roads that are otherwise fine. But just getting general consensus as a group moving forward, it's my understanding that we can use those quantities however we want to, but I think we'll be better served to try to put those towards a full street resurfacing rather than just a few cut and patches on particular streets and then large quantities on others. Kind of working on the same thing with the citywide parkings and sidewalks. We're working on a base drawing with it right now as well, and working through those DED quantities, and should have something pretty soon preliminary to take a look at as well. Other issue is, Thomas spoke with me on Friday about the issue with the auto valve or the field valve. Got that information from him back at the office, and one of our engineers is taking a look at that information, and we'll be following up with Thomas this week on a meeting and seeing if we can work with the manufacturer and with the contractor to troubleshoot the issue that's been going on with that valve.
Same valve? Same valve that we talked about 6 months ago?
It'll work today and it'll quit tomorrow. So we manually fill that tank every day, just to keep the risk from it overflowing or not filling. One day, like I said, it would run final, computer system, everything works perfect. We come out the next day, can't get do nothing. So we're kind of leading to believe that something will be defect in the valve itself or the manufacturer.
All right. What else you got, Josh? Any questions in?
All this on one of these.
Any questions for Dewberry?
I'd like to get something in black and white, what you're doing, if you don't mind, at the next meeting, just for me, instead of telling us, like everybody else gives a little literature, so that way we can keep up with it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we? Council comments.
Okay.
Go on, go ahead.
Here we go.
Here we go.
The dunes, people walking on them. I was, watching the sunset the other day. Gentleman comes walking right across the dunes. His wife came up the ramp. I said, sir, please do not walk out on the dunes. He said, I've been told that 3 times today. I didn't listen to them, I'm not gonna listen to you. And he used a few more words I'm not gonna use during the meeting. Walk control, according to the sheriffs, we do not have an ordinance for walking on the dunes. Is there any law, or do we need a resolution or ordinance to keep people from walking on the dunes?
All right, so the issue is, under state laws, there are 1 or 2 statutes that if you interpret them very aggressively can be held to. We can adopt something on a local level that says stay off the dunes, great, we have a rule that says stay off the dunes. We also need to think through though, what do we want the penalty to be? How do we want that enforcement to go? Because in general, with our local laws, we run everything through code enforcement, and that's might simple. What, what, what would be the type of solution you would like, and then we can explore what to do to put it in effect.
Well, number one, if we go for the ordinance, the summer will be over before the ordinance gets passed. Right?
Just about.
So we're not doing it.
So, we've been looking at this over the last 12 to 18 hours. I was reading some emails from Bay County attorneys today. They're suggesting, hey, talk to our consultant, we're not sure, they haven't had problems according to them. I was reading a statute that it's really geared more towards construction activities and driving, but if you wanna be very aggressive on it, you could probably do misdemeanor charges on people who are damaging vegetation. I don't know if that's what we want, I don't know if the state attorney would prosecute that. But we're looking into options, but we don't have an answer yet.
You ain't told me anything.
Well, we don't have a way, we've looked at that back year, when we first did them after Opal, about dunes, we just expect people to be more courteous than what you encounter.
Well, it's not just me. I've had, there's areas around, you can look, you can drive down the beach and look at where people have been doing compared to what they hadn't been doing. They
Bob, I
tear
guess
the beach
what I'm
up.
asking is, would you like them to have a criminal problem? Would you like them to have a $20 fine? What outcome do you think is appropriate?
Well, somebody like this person here, he's not gonna understand anything except some type of fine.
Okay.
If it gets to a point where people realize that there ain't gonna be a fine, they may not do it. Now, there's people walk across the dunes, go down in front of the ramp and put a tent up. You know, it's just, they don't care. I mean,
So the other alternative, I don't know that it's been explored very well yet with our enforcement officers, but our dunes are not normal dunes with normal rules about protecting dunes. Our dunes are a construction project that was completed recently. So we're really talking about damage to a recently constructed city project. We may be able to approach things differently due to that, depending on what our partners in the law enforcement realm say works for them. But we also probably need to let the world know what's going on before we start trying to have aggressive arrests of people with their sand buckets.
Lieutenant, how much problem y'all been having about it?
We try to deal with it as much as we can, but we're not always there. And like we've been asking people to let us know whenever they see these people so we can address it with them. You know, citizens have been good about, trying to let them know and everything, but yeah, they catch flack from these people and everything else because they don't listen to them. But talk to them, give us a call if, you don't have a good experience with it or whatever, we can try to work it through it and everything else. But like he's saying and everything with the statutes with Florida and everything, you basically got two realms out there. You can't drive on the dune, and you can't harvest the COs. So, not really anything to go with foot traffic other than, them, bringing a football team there and taking out a 10-foot swath of it. Cause places all up and down this beach and everything else, there's places that go through the dunes, that go down to the beach and everything else, and that's been customarily used and everything else. Sand dunes that come through here, some of the places that were customarily used before are not there. And you also got houses that come out right across the dunes and everything too. Because the dunes come through their house and there was access there before. It's something we're gonna have to work through. And, like I say, if you're gonna get an ordinance, put some teeth on it, what kind of teeth do you wanna bite with? What's the enforcement on it? Is it an arrestable offense? Is it a fine? It's something we're gonna have to work through. But we're trying to. I'm thinking maybe, we come up with some stakes or something and put some ropes in between the things to start off with. In crosswalks and stuff. Maybe, you know, visual aids for them and everything, but, you know, nothing's a fix right now.
Well, this guy walked right by a sign, it wasn't like a road was done anything anyway.
Yes, sir.
Well, what y'all, am I the only one that's worried about this
No,
or what?
I get one, a lot of them. But I don't lose, there's no bite into it, I talked to Mr. Williams. I mean, they can't do that, till the council already does something. What can we do?
I think, for me, the only thing we can do is be more aggressive than just the sign, is two befores and, make it, I mean, they'd have to just be blatantly wanting to do it, and if that is the case, we can't stop all those, but we may help. If you put something up there, the enforcement to me is, I mean, they're just not gonna be, they're not gonna see them do it all the time. And I think that we can, the signs are nice, they don't, but I think the easiest thing to do to get our point across from the city that don't wanna walk in there is put something up there, make them walk under it, make them tear it down, and then we may do something.
Or the wind fence, that,
Doing fencing.
Oh, no, I wouldn't think of a fence, I was thinking
no,
of something.
you know, supposed to be building the dunes up the, what do you call that?
The Zoom fencing.
Sand fence? No, I'm thinking of between the crosswalks of some two befores or posts with
Continuous road.
just a rope or something to, I mean, you know, I mean, that's no barricade.
Okay.
Well, the sand fence is something they couldn't step across. And it would serve the purpose of.
Yeah, but it's
holding
also
sand too.
very expensive to run a sand fence the length of that beach.
So you saying just put a post?
I'm saying between there, you could put 6 or 8 posts or whatever it take to put, not a cable, but something, and I'm not sure about a rope. With that kind of rope, that rope may go missing, I don't know, I'm trying to, I don't know.
In Panama City Beach, when they did the beach renourishment, and then afterwards, they did the planting of the COs, they do have a fence on the seaward side, that runs the full length. Now, they did that in 2008 or 9, or whenever that was, and about 7, 8 years later, that rope eventually degrades in the salt air, sunlight, so it's somewhat disappearing, but again, it encourages people not to walk across, but it is not a foolproof barrier.
Well, that was my thought, was that the rope served as a, somebody said, well, I didn't see the sign, oh, I do see it down there. You got a rope, it directs people. And it's better than what we have.
We could put that rope closer to the right of way instead of it being further down at the base of the dune. Again, just ideas in the placement of that rope. So on the seaward side, we do have sand fence on the seaward side. It sits at
Yeah, so the
a
angle.
45-degree angle, so you can walk around it, but again, it's implying not to walk through it, but.
I think it ought to be down about the base of the dune, so they can walk down that.
You talking about from the whole beach or just from 8 to 3 to 6?
Well, that's where your main problem.
I think that's where the majority of the problem is. Personally, from what I've seen, I've seen activity at the end of some of the streets, but most of the streets open right to the beach, there's a cut through.
You know, a point to look at it, if you look in between El Governor and Sunset Park, it's beautiful in there. It's really grown good and all that.
Yeah.
Because nobody's over there fooling with it. Everybody goes Sunset Park, goes straight down.
But I would think several spools, you know, most ropes 300 feet, then several spools of rope, and probably $500, we could make we could do the dedicated beach.
Well, I'm willing to try that to start with, and then if it's on, then we may have to go to the stronger measure.
Let's see it.
This kinda has something to do with that. How are we looking with DOT doing the landscape deal? As a humorous fix to it, you know, when there was a lot of sand spurs going down through there, nobody wanted to walk through it. You know,
We can specify some.
Yeah, we could plant some cactus.
Some prickly pear cactus.
There you go. That's better than landmine.
well, you know, and I'm sure I'm gonna be known as the sand spur king from this point on, but actually, when the vegetation was there, no one walked through it.
Well, they had their own little,
They were afraid of sand spurs whether they were there or not, you know, people, anyhow, I'm just saying, do we have an idea, have you?
yeah, well, the landscape plan, according to Ms. Moss, and I talked to Mara about this, that we're gonna have to do some more work on that. They're not gonna let us
Got
draw
the
circles
architect,
on a napkin
yeah.
and turn it in. They're not gonna do that.
Right, okay,
So,
so that's
But-
still down the road,
But
so
that's
that's not
still
gonna
down
be
the
fixed.
road, yeah,
That's
but
not
that won't
fixed.
affect, the landscape, won't affect. I think we ought to try something, Bobby. I'm not, I mean, you know, I don't think that police caution tape would last very long in terms of, but something, a rope. I think the dunes are worth $500 or $600 to try to, I mean, I think that's,
I'm willing to go with that to start with, and then we'll see how it does. There are some people that it won't matter what happens, but it might be a more deterrent than.
yeah, yeah.
So, I'm willing to try that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sound good, just on the dedicated beach?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, like I say, the most visible signs of people misusing that or not. About it is in, I haven't seen,
It's essentially 8th Street to the.
8th Street to the county line, yeah.
Well, you know, and the roads, people's got a path, go straight down, so they use that.
That's right.
And we do have houses, we're not, can't worry about that right now.
All right, let's try the dedicated beach, and let's give it a shot, see what happens.
One of the other things, I have a question too about the crossing the sand dunes, some of the crosswalks are going to the top of a dune. I guess we're just walking down the other side of the dune?
Right.
Okay. And there's not gonna be a walkway on the other side, I guess you can't put one over there anyhow, right? Okay. All right.
We'll delineate the path with the post and rope like we have on the other guys.
Okay.
What else you got, Bob?
That's got it.
Jerry, you got anything?
Well, yeah, I want to just tell everybody about the boat ramping, and Kathy did a really good job. My grandson, I furnished a golf cart, we shuttled people back and forth for 4 days. Kathy the only one to get tips, I didn't get no tips. Didn't give me that. No comment from you. But it really went well. We parked over 100-something cars, made a lot of money. And the boat slips, we rented just about all of them, I think, Don Lee told me we did, so we did make a little money out of the whole deal. I would like to get Mario on, I've heard a lot in the city about the IT people. I hope you're working on that ordeal sort of hot and heavy, because me and Al on the two can work without a computer. The rest of them need it, so I think that's a top priority for you. Hope you jump on that pretty good. Now,
Would you repeat that?
I love you to death now. And quit that picking at your finger before Carol gets on.
Crazy, I'm sorry. Did you say iced tea people? What did you say?
IT.
IT.
Hell, you get with the program now.
I know, well, you wore me out today.
I know I have, that's what I come for.
Glad though you got a smile now.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of people with the IT.
IT is definitely not my strong suit.
No, that ain't, what we got's not working, so I think we need to find something, and I hope we get to IT problem fixed. And, but I would like to thank all our people for the city, they're doing a good job. Getting all the fish carcass picked up, little minor things that we, and I smile at the people in the office, they're doing a good job. Then, everybody else, doing a good job, and I just say thank you, that's all. That's it, buddy.
Great, yeah, the opening of snapper season was, it was truly an eye-opening experience, to see the way we did a great job down there, and I had people, I didn't do anything, I want to clarify that right off the bat. I went down there, gave more support, and I had 3 people thank me. And I mean, they were the people there liked to see government out of our environment, down helping. It was truly remarkable to watch that, so,
The fire department was, is the
Fire
main,
department did a
was the
great
main
job,
key
all
to
of
the
it.
boat ramp part.
that has never
Yeah.
happened.
No, so,
And, also, I thought it was very cool that St. Joe came over here, Bridget Forsyth showed up at Mary's request. She came over on that Saturday morning to see firsthand what it looked like, and I think maybe, she realizes how important it is to get that other property cleared, or for us to get it in our agreement to use. And that's all I have. Fish carcasses, gotta stay on the fish carcass, people. I tell you, on my phone, it burned me up. Bye. What else you got there?
I'm good.
Sherry,
I'm good.
you're good? Last call, public comment.
We have a brand new weather station at the end of Canal Street, thanks to Bay County and a little bit of coordination. Sandy called me the other day and said they're getting ready to put a weather station here. And when we found out that there was a live camera feed that was going on that weather station, we put them in a little bit better location. So that view will be looking down the canal towards the jetty, and it will have rain gauge, wind speed, barometric pressure. Once we get that, you have to get to it through an app. Once we get all that information on how to get the app, we'll share it with everyone, we'll put it on our website. But it is really a neat little thing that we now have access to.
yeah, I go by and look at it. It's getting
Thank everyone for coming. Motion for adjourned. Nina, good to see you.